All right, so we are recording now. Welcome everybody to tonight's call. I'm going to kind of hand it over to Andrea. I mean, we're just coming off of the rally from yesterday, so I'm sure we're going to talk about that as well. But yeah, Andrea, feel free to take it away, share your information, then we'll open it up and we'll discuss the rally and going forward.
Okay. All right. So Elevate is annual event, not directly from Young Living, but it's all Young Living people. It's Friday afternoon into the evening, all day Saturday, and in the morning on Sunday they have a worship service, but then they start with sessions at noon and they run until like 6:30. So you're really, if you do everything that they do, you're in session till, and except for lunch and dinner, it's on your own, until 10:30 or so on Friday night. Saturday they start yoga at 6:45 in the morning, sessions at 9, and it closes at 8:30 something, 8:40 in the evening. And then Sunday, they start with yoga again early in the morning, worship service, and it runs all day. So it's a lot of information. I would say 90% of what I went to, the sessions that I went to, I enjoyed and appreciated. There was something positive. There was something that they did on Friday night. It was, instead of having sessions, it was a fundraiser, a live quote unquote auction for Young Living and a couple other charitable organizations. They had hoped to raise for the Young Living Foundation $5,000. That was their goal. We ended up raising $38,000, which they were blown away by. It was phenomenal. But anyway, so starting with the sessions, I had to eliminate some things because you just can't touch on everything. Jeff Jensen from LSP, he's the founder of LSP. Turns out he was also a tax consultant and an IRS auditor for many years. So he presented on tax law. So I found that fascinating. He also has a CD you can get from LSP all about taxes that he wrote with resources and information and materials. And he was very knowledgeable. He spoke with authority, definitely somebody that you could trust. And I think that I purchased the CD. I haven't even had a chance to look through it yet, but it's definitely something that if you have any questions about doing taxes and with Young Living, it might be worth investing in. It wasn't that expensive. I don't remember what it was, but it really was not that expensive. But he went down briefly over some of the things. In your auto ship, he said it's really careful. You have to document everything. But what you take for personal consumption is not, you can't write that off. But what you purchase for displays, for samples, all of those things are tax deductible. So you want to make sure you're documenting it so that you can write it off. Your travel expenses have to be itemized, but you have a choice whether you want to take a mileage deduction or the real expenses. And I didn't unfortunately note where it becomes beneficial to do one or the other, but that's something you want to look into. You can't do both. You can either do the real expenses or your mileage. Good business builders know where to go for information, and it's not Google, but you need to know where to go. You need to educate yourself. You need to stay compliant, and you need to make sure that your team also has resources. And you need to teach them how to find resources so that you're not constantly giving them the information all the time. You should have business cards with a good working phone number and email. That's one of the hallmarks of having a business. You need to know who your own tax counselors are. It can be somebody in your upline. It doesn't necessarily have to be somebody that's or it could be an accountant or a lawyer or somebody like that. If you ever have the misfortune of being audited, one of the things that the IRS looks at is where your deposits come from. So with Young Living, we have our paychecks automatically deposited. That's going to show up on your bank statement that way, so you'll know. But other deposits that you make that aren't direct deposited, so there's no way to identify them, you need to register those things, because otherwise it may not be income, but if you can't document where that deposit comes from, the IRS is going to consider it income. So you don't want to get snagged on that. That's key. You have to annotate all your deposits, just like your expenses. You can justify your expense, but a credit card receipt's not going to do it. Even if you note on the back, you need to have good, real vendor receipts. And then you need to annotate them with the reason, what it was, who you were with, date and time, that kind of thing. Should you ever need to amend a tax return, don't do it right away. He says 100% wait. File your amended tax return 2 years and 11 months from the time the original tax return was due. That way, when the IRS gets it, they only have 30 days. They don't have enough time to review it and schedule it for an audit by that point. So they have to accept your amended tax return as good. So just something to keep in mind if you ever have to amend your tax return. Okay, let's see. One of the other big things he talked about was whether your Young Living business is a hobby or a business. The IRS looks at that definition, and if they view your business as a hobby, you can't deduct any of your expenses because it's a hobby, it's not a business. So some of the hallmarks are that, including the year that you're filing, 3 of the 5 past years have to have turned a profit. However, in the beginning, your business, they don't worry about it so much, but by year 3, you have to be having a profit, or you're not going to qualify if you get audited as a business, and they can go back. So that's something to be aware of. There's a few other points that he had about that that we just don't have time to go into, but a lot of that information is on his CD. If you do get audited, they review your bank accounts and they go by what they view as income rather than what you put on your tax return, which is one of the reasons why you have to document all of your deposits. They will put you through a lifestyle questionnaire that you're going to have to fill out. They're going to review your expenses. They're going to review your long-term assets and the net results. So those are all things that you need to be aware of. So that's kind of in a nutshell what he presented on. The next person was Monique McLean. She's one of the most positive, upbeat, energetic people I've ever seen present without being overbearing. She has a website with a lot of information on it, free information, but also some products that she has for sale. But her whole thing is My 5 a Day is what her latest book is. And she says basically working our business is like chopping down a tree. You can chop down a tree, work at it all day long, and the tree's still standing. Or you can go out every day and put 5 whacks in the tree. And that's it. Stop. 5 whacks the next day, and the next day, and the next day, and the next day. And eventually that tree is going to fall. So you may not be able to chop a tree down in one day. I mean, it's just too much work. You can't do it. But anybody can work this business by just doing 5 things a day. So the keys are the 5 things that you're doing have to be in the same target, just like chopping down a tree. You can't chop it, at 1 foot today and then tomorrow chop it at 2 feet and the next day chop it at a foot and a half. It's not going to work. Every day you got to go out and chop it at the same spot, and eventually you'll get it. So with our business, if you're like a squirrel and you're here one day and there the next, and doing stuff all over the map isn't going to get you where you need to be. You need to have consistency and work at it a little a day. Her 5 things that she says you need to do: you need to pray for your business, you need to know your numbers, you need to consume the product, you need to share with others, and you need to help others grow. And she said her organization is 500,000 people, but she only personally enrolled 200 of them. So helping other people is the key. The only way you're going to get to where you want to be is to help other people do it. We hear it all the time: duplication, duplication, duplication. It's the key. And she said it's not duplication, it's multiplication. She did give out some resources, one of them being her website, which is Oh My Oils, OHMYOILS.com. I think she produced the comp plan book that Leah was talking about. And you can get it on her website. And that's one of the things she says: you got to know your numbers, you got to know your comp plan. And she said you got to push through your struggles. We're all going to struggle. You're all going to have a problem. You got to push through them. And it's the same as any Royal Crown Diamond. They've all had struggles. They've all pushed through them. So you just got to keep going. Okay, so that was all pretty much for Friday. Saturday, I think, was the one workshop that I appreciated absolutely the most. It was from Nicole Dodge, and her theme was why you cannot afford to be non-compliant. And she went through basics of Young Living's compliancy department, and she says they're not out there to, scream at you. They're really there to try to make sure that we're keeping compliant, because whatever we do reflects back on Young Living. She went a little bit into the laws and the history of why they had to set up the compliancy department, but it all comes down to free speech versus commercial speech. So we're going to say, oh, well, in America, we have free speech. We can say whatever we want. Well, not if you are basically a representative of a business. Even in your private posts, your personal posts on Instagram, you have to be compliant, because once you have a business relationship, they can view any communication as an intent to sell. If you have an intent to sell, then it's commercial speech and it can be regulated. So where we have to be compliant is anything online: websites, blogs, social media, email, and also our classes. Where commercial speech is not regulated is one-on-one conversations. So she said she was a little shocked because she had a conversation with Julie Hunter, who's the head of the compliance department. And I forgot what example it was, but Julie came out with a statement that was completely non-compliant. And Nicole almost fell off her seat, because she was like, wait a minute, what's going on? And Julie looked at her and said, we're two friends having a discussion. That's the loophole. The only thing that you have to be careful of when you're sharing, if you do say something that's non-compliant, you have to make sure that you make it clear, this is not something that I would say in my class. And you can say why, because the FDA regulations, whatever. Because when you share, that person, if they're part of your downline now, you don't want them running around and speaking non-compliantly. You want to make sure they understand that division. If you're one-on-one with somebody, you're sharing the oils with them, you're talking to them, whatever it is, one-on-one, you don't have to worry about compliancy. Just make sure that you make it clear that you wouldn't do this. You wouldn't say that if you were teaching a class, or you wouldn't post something like that. Another thing that she went into was what we talk about and how we talk about, and this blew my mind. Vitality, anything labeled with vitality, we can say it supports a bodily system, just like we see on Young Living. But even though the exact same oil is in the regular line, nothing that we use aromatically or topically, we can say supports any body system except your skin. The FDA does not view the skin as being able to absorb anything and therefore being able to support your system. It has to be consumed internally in order to support a system. So if you're if you tell someone to diffuse thieves or to apply thieves somewhere on their body because it's going to help your immune system, that's non-compliant. If you tell them to put it in their tea or in a capsule and swallow it, that's compliant. So you got to be really careful. Nothing aromatic or topical can support any body system except your skin. You can improve your skin with some of the oils. What we have to do is say things like we've seen on Young Living's materials. You know, the scent of lavender is so relaxing. RC can be uplifting. You know, we all may know how we use it and what it does for us, but we have to be really careful about saying those things if we're not taking it in internally. Another point she brought out was the over-the-counter products that we have. We can make the claims that Young Living makes on any of those over-the-counter products because they've been tested, but they have to be at full dilution. We can't say, okay, I take the insect repellent and because it's so strong, I dilute it with a little carrier oil or whatever, and it works just as good. We can't say that because now you've changed the product and you're making your own product, and now you can't make those claims. So you may be able to say you use them that way, but you use it diluted, but you can't say that it is now an insect repellent or it works just as good. We can't say that. These are things that the FDA watches for. The compliance department scrolls through all of our social media, all of it. Instagram seems to be a really big one that they monitor, but they scroll through all of them because they said the FDA is doing exactly that. So they want to make sure they catch as much as they can. So what you can do is be creative with your pictures. They don't have words. So if you want to let people know what lavender can do to help people relax and sleep, you can have a picture of your baby asleep with a bottle of lavender in the picture. But as long as you don't say, hey, diffuse lavender because it'll help your baby sleep. You can't say that, but you can have a creative picture and allow people to draw their conclusions. You just got to be really careful about your words. Okay, so that I think, I took pictures of slides that aren't in my notes. Let me just make sure I didn't miss it. If you're in doubt on what to say, look at Young Living's website or the VO. She had on her slide something vague book, and at the time she said what it was. I don't remember what it is. I don't know if anybody's ever heard of this vague book. It's one word vague book. We can talk about how we use the oils, just not why. So you can say I apply Valor blah blah blah, or I apply this blah blah blah. You just can't say why. She brought up, make sure that your materials are compliant as well. Avoid materials that are non-compliant. And don't use your scanners if you have a iTovi or a Zyto. You don't want to use those in your classes. Come up with a creative event where you can give people scans. Teach your downline members where they can go to get information. The old idea of teach a man to fish or give him a fish. Teach them where they can find their information. PubMed, Google Scholar, life science publishing, places like that. I think that's about it. Okay. Chelsea Tudor talked about prospecting in public. You want to get comfortable with being uncomfortable. And she said she uses 3 words, act, 3 letters in 1 word, ACT, A-C-T, which stands for ask, you want to find their need, ask them a question, ask an open-ended question, find their need. If you're in the airport, are you flying home today? Where's home? Etc. Ask a question, find their need, C, connect with the person, why that's important to them, and why Young Living is important to you. Find those Me Too moments. So ask them questions, and when they say something that resonates with you, oh, me too. And then you can build trust that way. And trade. Get their information, give them yours. But get their information, social media, phone number, email, whatever it is, and follow up the next day. That's key. Absolutely key. It's the follow-up. Give me a moment while I scroll through my pictures here. Okay. Rosie Garcia Cristatelli had a very long, really informative workshop on body systems, and it was basically traditional Chinese medicine and our body systems, but I'm still digesting the information. It was kind of heavy, very interesting, but a little bit heavy, so I'm not going to really go into it. But if you have a chance to read over any of her materials or see her website, it's worth looking at. It was very, very interesting. She did mention that she loves the Aromadome, which it's a diffuser that Young Living used to market. They no longer market, but it's still available by the manufacturer who made it for Young Living. So if you want to look for the Aromadome, it is out there. And she highly recommends it for diffusing, especially for respiratory people that are having respiratory issues. And the one thing other that stuck out in my mind was with regard to the endocrine system. The main thing you can do to help your endocrine system, which connects to all your other systems, is to get rid of toxins. That's the number one thing that she said you got to do. Echo and Danny Hill co-presented on Rhino Up. It's a way to get through to people, but it's also, we have to teach our downline the struggle. So they quoted John Maxwell, who said, too many people oversell success and undersell the struggle. We're going to lose downline members if we're always telling them it's wonderful, it's easy, it's this, it's that. They're going to come into the business expecting it to be easy, expecting not to have any problems, expecting it to be smooth. If we don't let them know that this is tough, there are struggles, let them see your struggles, help them see how you work through it, so that they are better prepared. So there's no show events. You have classes, nobody shows up. It happens. You can't take it personally. People quit. You can't take that personally. They quit for whatever reasons. You need to be tough and work through these struggles. People fail to buy a kit. They lose rank. They lose rank at every rank. Everybody, all the way up to Royal Crown Diamonds. As Royal Crown Diamonds have lost their rank and then had to come back up again. Every struggle has been overcome by other people. You're not that special. I loved when she said that. She was just, you're not that special. Whatever struggle you have, somebody else has had it. And you just have to decide to work through it. Let me see. One of the things that they said is a good exercise is to write down all the problems or setbacks or struggles that you think that you have now or that you will have, but then write a list of things that you will do when that happens. They said this way, when it does happen, you already have your own resource and your own words that you can go back to help you get through those struggles. Have your vision board in several places so that it's always in front of you, so you can always keep your future in mind. If you have a setback, if something happens, deal with it, breathe it for 24 hours, and then move on. Any more time than that, and it's a waste of your time. If you have a celebration, if something's been great, celebrate it for 24 hours and move on. Any more time than that's taking you from what you need to be focusing on. Have an accountability partner. We've heard that before. Surround yourself with like-minded people as well, so that you have people that inspire you and that you can inspire as well. Another quote that at the end that they used from John Maxwell was, failure is inevitable, but learning is optional. So you're going to fail. Things are going to happen, but you can choose to learn from that and then build on it from there. Jerry Lynn Joyner has a new website out there called elevateme.com. It has some of the same things that other websites have, like, drip advertising and that type of thing. Can't read my own writing. But the main point that she really was bringing out is we need to keep it simple. We need to build in the moments. You don't necessarily have to spend all day. Find those moments of time where you can build your business. We're never going to be able to retire or make a living on just kit sales. You need to build residual income, and the only way to do that is through essential rewards. So we need to be focusing on that. And what we can do is when somebody purchases a kit, find out the top 3 reasons they bought that kit, and then go back to them, follow up with them, and say, so let's say they bought the kit because they want to help their kids sleep or whatever. Go back and ask, how's the baby sleeping? Oh, baby's not sleeping well. Let me send you some cedar wood. I don't want you to buy it right now. I want to see if it works first. And then when you finally get whatever that first reason was worked out for them and things are going well, go to the next reason why they bought their kit. Follow up on that specifically. Ask them, see if and so this way you teach them to solve their own problems, but you also, you get them looking toward using the product. Dr. Colette, I'm not sure, it looks like Polignon, Polignone. She presented on closing the sale. And let me just bring up, I have some of her slides. information was coming out so fast that you couldn't, sometimes you just couldn't take enough notes. Bear with me a second. She said there was some really good resources. One was a CD by Robert T. Stevens. It was an interview by Marcella von Harding. One was on conscious language, building your business, which is CD number 11, and conscious self-talk, building your business, CD number 12. You can get them from abundanthealthforyou.com. Another resource that she gave was masterysystems.com, which has conscious language, the logos of now by Robert T. Stevens. And he also has a Mastery System 20 CD set. And he also has trainings. She said these are great resources. And most of what she brought out, or a good portion of what she brought out, you can actually get a download if you go to bit.ly/MOJ. MOJ has to be in capitals. If you put it in lowercase, it won't go through. MOJ objections. When you go on there, you can sign up for emails from her, but then as soon as you sign up, there'll be a download that you can get for free. And it's like 3 or 4 pages of just how to respond to objections. When people have objections and we don't know how to overcome them, it was just ideas how to overcome these objections. But she said things that we have to keep aware of when we're talking is high vibration words. I know people will come. It feels empowering to you. It's the way that you can change your mindset. So if you speak with positivity, believe it or not, it works. She said this is quantum physics, that our energy actually affects the way our brains work. Words that she said we need to ban from our thoughts when we're talking about our businesses, hope, wish, etc., because they don't contain the future outcomes in them. You want to use words like I know, this will, that kind of thing. High vibration phrases that you want to repeat to yourself, like, now that closing is fun and easy, what is different for me is, and put in whatever it is that you vision. And you're going to work on these things and be specific, because you're putting energy into your own thought process, and you're basically willing things to happen for yourself. She said a perfect example of this was her son was having problems. He came home from school every day crying because he said that nobody likes him at school, and he wasn't popular. So she told him to do this and had him repeat, I am the most popular kid at school. Everybody loves me. It wasn't the truth at the moment, but he spoke it into being the truth, repeating these mantras, I guess you want to call them, but these positive self-talk. Sure enough, within a couple of days, he came home from school all excited. He said, Mom, I'm the most popular kid at school. Everybody loves me. You make it the truth. Instead of saying, I can't remember, she said, say, I choose to remember. She said, believe it or not, you will remember. When we're talking to people and they're like wishy-washy, doesn't seem like they want to make a commitment either way, she says, talk them through that by saying, well, let's get something on the calendar. They don't know if they want to have a class. Let's get something on the calendar. And if they object, say, we can always cancel it if it doesn't work out. What days are better for you, evenings or weekends? Give them a choice so that they'll choose. If you're speaking positively with powerful words, people are less likely to object. View no's as not yet. Don't view them as no's. When you don't say if you get the oils, when you get the oils. And you conscious of your body language, even when you're on the phone, because it'll come through in your voice. She said at the end, when you're having a class, at the end, she likes to use the sign-up forms rather than having people do it online. She says, hand out the sign-up forms and shut up. Let them sit with the sign-up forms in silence. If you've done your job right, just don't let the silence bother you. It'll spur them to either take action or ask a question. Be careful that your host doesn't sabotage it by saying, you don't have to sign up now if you don't want to. Make sure you got your host in line with you before you start the class so you don't have that problem afterwards. But just let them sit. People, when they sit with the forms, they have their own reasons, and often the issues are very solvable. Check in with them with yes and no's, not open-ended questions. No open, but it makes more sense to be open-ended questions. I'm sorry. So if they object, if they say something, objectives, always say, well, the best part is, and all of this is delineated in those notes if you sign up for them. It gives you an idea. Say, well, that's the best part. Whatever it is they object to, that's the best part. The kit's so expensive. Well, that's the best part. It really isn't, because each bottle of oil, blah, 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 blah. So you can solve their objections very easily with positive statements, but at the same time, make sure you keep it a little simple. Don't overcomplicate things. Don't overwhelm them, because they'll just be overwhelmed and not be able to make a decision. I hope some of this is making sense, because I'm trying to sift through, because I know we're going to run out of time.
No, we're loving it, Andrea. Keep going.
You know, what sounds good in my head doesn't always come out of my mouth. Lauren Cruz Dow, her theme was the art and science of yes. One of the things I thought was brilliant is how she approaches a class or even a one-on-one. She puts the price of the kit and ER in the beginning of her presentation and flows it all the way through. She says, because you put the price there in the beginning, here's the kit, it's $160. The shock is over quickly, because you're going to now build on the value. So as the people listen to what you're saying, the $160 doesn't seem so bad, because you're now explaining all the value, rather than going through everything, oh, it's interesting, and then the shock of $160 hits them when they're not prepared for it. But if you put it in there in the beginning, people convince themselves that it's definitely worth it, that it's definitely a good buy. She said it's really important for us to support each other's classes as well. If you can get, a fellow team member or even a cross-line member, if you can attend their class or they can attend yours, because they become an authority there in the class, and you can ask them questions. What do you feel about this oil, or what do you feel about that oil, or how do you use this, so that people can see that it's not just you talking, other people there see the value in it. Some of the things that you can do to add value to the kit without even realizing it. Just having a diffuser set up with the oils. We do that, and we bring attention to it. Doesn't that smell great? Ask the next question. Wouldn't you love to have your home smell like this? Wouldn't this be great in your house? Help them to see the value of the oils in their life, rather than just giving them information. Ask them questions so that they're thinking about it, how it would apply to them. One of the questions to ask them in the beginning is, wouldn't you agree that it's important to try to live a toxin-free life? Wouldn't you agree that there are times when you need a little emotional support in your life? If you get them to agree to these little statements that are easy to agree to, then when it comes time to make the big yes, it's a lot easier for them because they've already been on board with you during the class. They've been saying yes all along. So at the end, they're going to see the value in it and they're going to want to say yes. I was even thinking as she was saying it, I said I could just picture, she presented this way better than I did, but I could picture what she was saying, and something as simple as we're filtering ER into our presentation. As you talk about a specific product, you can say, and I have this on my monthly wellness box order every month because blah, 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 blah. So that they see that this isn't just stuff you're presenting, you're using it. And it also puts the idea of essential rewards out there during the course so they can start thinking about it. Oh, well, maybe I would want to have that every month. When you have them sign up, say when you sign up and you pick out your kit, you can sign up for essential rewards at that time. And when you sign up for essential rewards, there are 2 products that I recommend. So be prepared. And she always recommends Tincture Red and Thieves Cleaner. Of course, these are 2 things that are going to help change people's lives the most. But you say it like that as a positive. When you, this is what I recommend. This is what I see the most benefit from. But it's always when, not if. Oh, but when you're talking about essential rewards, she says, don't go into all the numbers. Don't go into the percentages. Don't go all of that because it's a little overwhelming the first time people are talking about it. I mean, if they ask you questions, it's a different story, but don't automatically throw that out there because most people just don't want to deal with that right away. Focus on ER as being a necessity for their lives rather than all of that numbers. Unless you're like me and then I love the numbers, so, you know. Katie Ganger gave a little short presentation on vulnerability. She says it's really important that in our social media, in our presentations, that we are not afraid to be vulnerable. People need to see that we're not perfect. And if we're always showing the perfection side of whatever it is, our lives, people have a harder time connecting with us. But if they see, oh, she struggles with XYZ just like I do, or she struggles with this, wow, that's something, they actually form a better emotional connection to you. So never be afraid. Don't think that everything on social media has to show you perfect. Please show what you're struggling with, show your problems, be vulnerable. It will make a big difference. Lindsay Elmore presented, of course, 10,000 scientific points. Just a few of them that I thought were really interesting, and this is a little gross, but she says that doctors during autopsy are consistently finding that people's intestines are 80% blocked with stuff that hasn't passed. So it's something to really consider. Our guts can't be healthy if they're 80% blocked. ICP, Essentialzyme, and Comfort Tone, and how well they work together. Essentialzyme chews and digests our food, or helps to chew and digest our food. ICP is a lot of fiber, and it bulks up our poop so we can get it out. And she said you can think about it this way. ICP stands for I see poop. It's going to help you to pass that. And Comfort Tone helps to push out. It actually stimulates the muscles that contract our intestines, but you have to be careful. You're not going to use Comfort Tone long term, because what happens is your body starts to rely on the Comfort Tone, and the muscles stop producing what stimulates them. So when you do stop the Comfort Tone, you end up having rebound constipation really bad because nothing starts moving. So Comfort Tone you only want to use for a short period of time. Follow the label. Definitely follow the label. And pregnant women under no circumstances should use Comfort Tone because it stimulates the muscles in that area, and you don't want a pregnant woman contracting. So that's something to be really careful of if you know of anybody who's pregnant and wants to take comfort tone. It's contraindicated. 2 weeks max. You don't take comfort tone for any more than 2 weeks. Something that was a benefit to me that I didn't know before, Essential Zymes has 2 enzymes that support the pancreas. So anybody who has issues with their pancreas, if they're diabetic, something that they might want to consider because of the specific enzymes, 2 of them that are in Essential Zymes. But it should be taken 30 minutes before a meal to help you digest that meal. There's a note on here I want to bring out. Oh.
Okay. Hey, Andrea.
We're running out of time?
Yeah, I'm sorry. And we're appreciating the information that you're sending. You're green, right?
I'm green. I'm green yellow, but mostly.
Yeah,
green
you sound
yellow.
like me. but I do want to thank you for sharing all of that. Let's continue that conversation, and thank you for the resources. I'm sure there's just like so much information that we're just not able to get into this short amount of time. But I do want to transition and allow Tashina to talk a little bit about the rally. And I still want to guard everyone's time who's on the call tonight. So thank you very much for sharing. Okay, Andrea?
Very welcome. You're very welcome.
Okay, so Tashina, I'm going to open it up and allow you guys to share some information from the rally this weekend.
So because we didn't go over Karanya and some of the other stuff, I was just going to go through the presentation so that everybody, especially, and then we had some people that missed the rally, so I was going to go through the whole presentation so that we can get that. So I need access to share my screen. Okay, there we go. All right, so they were talking about the markets that we opened. So we got Young Living China. We know that it's now officially open. We have our little codes for it. We also have the Philippines that is opening up. There's a new experience center in Australia, experience center in Hong Kong. And then we have our new partner farm in Africa, which is the Manzi Amali Farm and Distillery, which we're gonna get tea tree, eucalyptus radiata, grapefruit, orange, lemon, and they already have 35 years of experience in sustainable growing practices for essential oils, botanicals. And then we have a new product, which I don't have any money to order it right now, but after the 15th, hopefully I can get it. And it's Karanya. It means rainbow in an Aboriginal Australian language. The blend as a whole is like a beautiful rainbow, several elements coming together to make something more beautiful than the sum of its parts. And it was certified by the D. Gary Young Research Institute, so it does have that label. It's the first essential oil with that official seal. So it has lemon, myrtle, quinzia, blue cypress, sandalwood, fennel, Australian Ericifolia, eucalyptus radiata, and tea tree. So I'm hoping that blue cypress in there with the quinzia, because I love quinzia, but it pours out like water. I've never seen an oil like that in my life. So I'm hoping that blue cypress is gonna make it not pour out like that. So it's really good for the skin, stimulating, cleansing, and air purifying. And then we have the ways that you can use it. And there's the price and the PV. And then we went through the holiday catalog, so we know we have our Thieves Roll-On. Now people do not have to make their own roll-ons or buy caps for it. So it can be applied to the children's feet, rub on your chest or back. So as Andrea was making very clear, you tell people how to use it. You don't tell people what it does, because topical, we can't say that it is supporting a certain system. We have our crackers that are coming out. are not yet available, and tomato, herb, and sea salt. So they have no preservatives, no artificial flavors, no GMO ingredients, stone ground ancient grains. And we had a lot of information on why einkorn is superior recently, so we don't need to go into that. One additional thing is that it's made with coconut sugar instead of refined sugar, so I'm gonna have to see if I can actually eat it, and made with heart-healthy avocado oil. And then here's the ingredients, which will be available for you to read. And then again, we already know why einkorn is so good. And then we have our Vitality Culinary Kit. So it comes with steel mixing bowl, 4 stainless steel and silicone utensils, a cookbook, a bamboo oil rack, which is the thing that I want most from it. I don't really need any more utensils, but the rest of it I want. So we'll see, I'll probably get this. So there's gonna be breakfast recipes, main dishes, marinades, soups, sides, drinks, and desserts. And then shower steamers, super excited about that because I don't really take baths at my house, and I'm always hoping that I go somewhere and take baths, but I haven't been somewhere to do that. So I am excited to use the Citrus Fresh Energizing and Easy Breeze Awakening. Prices and PVR there. So, you know, they're gonna be steamers that will invigorate our senses. They're vegan, so that's good to know. Without petrochemicals, synthetic colors, or synthetic fragrances, 100% naturally derived ingredients. So key ingredients are sodium bicarbonate, sodium sesquicarbonate, citric acid, water, and pure essential oils. And we're gonna put this in our shower without it being directly hit by the water. Rockin' Lip Gloss is finally available outside of the holiday kit. It doesn't have the cool little light anymore, but it's my favorite color. Moisturizes lips, soothes and softens, adds shines, enhances lip fullness, and includes peppermint essential oil. We have our Dash Away car diffuser. So it'll be convenient and easy to have in the car, sturdy, long-lasting design. And suggestions on how to use it. And then we have some holiday snacks, Chocolescence, Peppermint Almond Bar, Chocolescence, Wolfberry Truffle, and Ancient Grains Breakfast Set. I'm excited about the truffles because I can't eat the other things. So. And then we have some eyeshadow sets. So this is pretty cool that people can get the eyeshadows discounted and try several at the same time. We have some lip and cheek sets, some lipstick sets, which I'm probably gonna get one of these just because I want that little bag. And then the double cleansing set, I'm definitely getting this because I want that face brush, that little that's shaped like an oil drop. And then the lip balm set. I always get this because I love the vanilla mint. It's only available during this seasonal catalogs when they put it out. And then we have some spa packages with our lavender products. Joyful Juniors. So the cool thing about things like this, like the Joyful Juniors, the Festive Feline set, Cheery Canine, all of these little sets, is that these are all discounted. So some of them, if there were things you were going to purchase anyways, if you usually purchase Thieves and Spearmint, like now you can get them discounted. The Holiday Room Spreads, Gentle Mist Personal Diffuser, Wellness Warrior set. So I have like Super Bee, Power Jize, and Agile Ease on the way to my house right now. I ran out and I needed an extra order. And I always buy ME Pro this time of year as well. So like this is a great way. This is probably going to be until it's no longer available on my Essential Rewards every month, because I buy those pretty much every month. And then the catalog is available and there. And then they reminded us about YL Go and the YL Share app. And then hopefully you guys saw, I placed in the in the group, somebody actually, some green out in the rest of the world, went through all the savings for all of these kits and everything. So that was pretty cool. And then if there's any videos you want to share with anyone, I did upload them all to my YouTube channel in both English and Spanish. So that was all I want to share.
Okay. And then Melissa, you had something that you wanted to add?
Me?
Yes.
I have this week, actually the Saturday coming up, I have in Moncton, New Brunswick, I have a Live Your Passion rally for Canada. So I'm really looking forward to that because I'm looking at all the good stuff that you guys have, and I'm hoping that we have something similar.
Okay. So that's going to be fun. All right.
For sure, yeah.
So what we will do, because I really want to try to guard everyone's time, really quickly, let's talk about events, if there's any events that anyone would like to promote this week, and then we'll close out the call. Does anybody have any events they would like to promote?
We have our monthly team party educational event. So on Tuesday at 7 p.m. we'll be at the Rusty Bucket, learning about all the ways to stay above the wellness line in fall and making our own glass diffusers and room spritzes. That's what we have going on this week. And then I am headed to Mexico City for the Latin American Convention. So I will be doing all types of lives that none of y'all will be able to understand from Thursday through Sunday. But I will be recapping it on the 28th for everyone in English. If there's any like diamonds that share some, mind-blowing stuff.
Okay. Any online classes or anything going on that anyone's aware of? Don't forget, for those within the local Metro Detroit area, we are having our team event on the 9th. That's Tuesday. That's this Tuesday. Rusty Bucket in Bloomfield. That's correct, Tashina? 7 o'clock. So for those in the area, if you can make it, we'd love to have you there. And feel free to promote it and bring a guest. We've been getting nice interaction and fun turnout at these. So I think it's been really, really good for the team. So that is going on the 9th. I'm just trying to see and make sure I don't miss anything. And then you guys, so there's the spa party on the 21st, correct? But that's a couple weeks out. But start thinking about that now if you'd like to attend that, promote that as well. And I think that's all I got right now.
So then next week, do we get to hear from Karen and Marlene?
That's up to, I won't be on the call. That is actually up to Julie. So because we still haven't done our Silver Retreat recap, and the only time I can do that is on the 21st. And I have special guests that are going to join me. So the option was for them to only share 30 minutes and split with Julie, who's going over IPAs, or for them to take the 4th, which is the next available.
Well, I see them sneaking in there on the iPhone. So I know that they're listening.
But they're driving.
Okay, we got it.
Wait,
Sorry, we're still driving from Chicago.
Please pay attention to the road and be careful.
I was like, there's a car. Brake!
So what did you guys prefer? What works for you so I can just update the schedule now?
Well, I think that we really need a lot